In today's episode, we are joined by two guests and fellow runners to discuss the upcoming Epona 100 miler in June. This race is founded by the team behind Pegasus Ultra Running and Wild Horse 200. It's a real fun episode. Tune in, let's go. Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the Just Run podcast with me, Reese Morgan.
And me, Nathan Marshall.
Due to a few technical issues, Nath will just be doing audio today. Now's your chance to insert some crying gifs or something, Nath. But don't worry about it, you still get to see some other handsome faces. And let's face it, all of our voices are as smooth as Tennessee whiskey anyway, as Chris Stapleton once said. So either way, you're on to a winner. Secondly, I want to apologise for my absence on Will's episode last week. Thanks to my legendary co-host Nath, he picked up the slack and absolutely nailed it. I was away with the family in Bluestone National Park and probably getting in more miles and steps than anybody combined. If you've been to Bluestone, you'll know what I mean. But whilst I was away, I listened to it and it was a Brahma, like fair play. I got nothing but admiration for Will. I've never met him in person. His story is amazing, one of physical, but probably more mental toughness, and just a remarkable dude. And hopefully next time we speak to him, we'll be talking to a world record holder because he's doing a bit of a crazy tire flip challenge. So listen back and hear how you can support him if you can. This week, we're going to be spoiling you with two guests. But before we get into that, Nath, because I never had a chance to see you or catch up with you properly last week, tell me how your week's been. What have you been up to, man?
So still a bit injured, really. Getting used to the new napp-u shoes, because they're a bit different to the Speegos. They're flatter, so it's caused a bit of knee issues in my left knee. So I've just taken a rest for a couple of days. His back's still a bit tight from with that fall. So yeah, it's just feeling like crap at the moment, to be honest.
Is it like a multitude of everything? Is it getting you down a bit because you can't do as much as you'd like, and also with the shoes giving you that bit of pain as well? I know it's nice to have that, them backing you, but is it just all kind of piling on top and getting you, excuse the pun, running you down a little bit?
Yeah. It's getting frustrating to sort of like see everyone on do these miles and each week, and I'm not being able to get out and do so much. So I'm trying to prepare myself mentally for it, like visualizing, so like it's gonna fucking suck every day. It's gonna fucking suck every day, and just keep repeating it, and it's like imagining the pain that I'm going through each day. But yeah, it feels like it's like a taper week. You know, in a taper week where everything like niggles and hurts, and you feel like a 70-year-old man. Well, it feels like that. I know as soon as I get back training, I'll be fine again. But at the moment, I feel like an OAP.
It's funny though, isn't it? Because you have time off. Some people would argue you'd feel better because you're not running as many miles or anything, but actually it's worse. Are you, I know obviously, again, like I said, it's great to have the backing from napp-u, but with the issues you've had so far, do you think you are going to take them on the Welsh Coastal Path?
Maybe for a bit of it, but not for like long stints on concrete. They're great on sort of like hard trail, I suppose. I haven't tested the trail ones out yet, but I know the road ones will work on like hard, like dry ground. And they'd be quite nice because they're a really nice shoe, really nice. I'm just frustrated that they're just too flat for me.
Yeah, well, you're going from Hoka, and you're the best brand in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are other brands available. No, with something you said then about looking at other people out training and stuff, it's just frustrating. I've actually not been recording runs or anything for the past week or so, a bit longer actually on Strava, because my knee's been giving me jip and I haven't been able to do as much training as I'd like. I've still been consistent, but it's been a lot smaller miles than I'd like. I decided to come off Strava just for a little bit. I was going down a bit of a rabbit hole because I was starting to do what I said I would never do, which is just compare myself to other runners. And, one of, the guests that we've got on here tonight and other people that I follow on there, they're all big runners and out doing runs that I want to be doing. But I've been strictly told against it by Sophie, my physio, not to do it. And it's starting to kick my ass a little bit, if I'm being honest. I'm staying positive, but I've come off Strava just because of that. And as well as my knee, I went for a run down in Bluestone. You'll know it. It's beautiful trails around there. And with about a mile before the finish, it was only a small run. I hit a pothole on my left ankle, and I looked down and saw my foot go right underneath me. So all the left hand side of my foot and my ankle is bruised and swollen. So that's super great. Now I've got a bad ankle and a bad knee, but I'm still able to run on it. But it's just another thing to just, when you try and prepare mentally for like a huge run, like 100 mile, and you want as minimal niggles as you possibly can. So yeah, it's a bit of a ball ache, but we'll get there, man. It sounds like we're both just moaning bastards at the moment, but
yeah, I keep trying to remind myself though, sort of like all the hard work that we both do in the gym, and hopefully that'll show dividends when we actually do these tasks.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
anything over an hour, 2 hours of running anyway doesn't really like benefit you really.
No,
So that's
exactly.
what I'm getting in my head. So yeah, I'm just trying to remain positive, but at the moment it fucking sucks, doesn't it?
Mate, life is sent to test us, mate. There's these little moments, and as loads of people say, if it was easy, everyone would do it. So just keep
Yeah.
smiling, mate. We got this. We got this. Um, on that note, what I'll do is, as I said at the start there, we're going to be spoiling you with two guests, not just one. This is where I usually do a little bit of an intro. But all I'm going to say is that our fellow runners, Mike Jenkins or Jenks, and Paul Bennett Davies. And instead of doing an intro, I'm just going to hand the mic over to them. So, Jenks and Paul, welcome in to the Just Run podcast. And how you guys getting on in your own, in whichever order you want to do? How you guys doing? How's your week been so far?
Go on, Paul. You can go first, bud.
Oh, go on then. Well, thanks guys for having us on. It's really cool to be on the podcast. To be honest, it sounds like I'm in quite a good place, I think, with running. I like
Oh, I don't rub it in.
No, but I'm where you guys were like 6 months ago. That's where I was. So I fractured my ankle trying to run down Blorenge. And couldn't like get on the trails for like 4 months as things sort of got better. I was just like ridiculously just like running around Cardiff or sticking to the roads, being unable to turn corners even because it put too much pressure on my ankle. So I'd have to run like in a straight line, stop, and then run in another straight line, and then stop, run in another straight line. So I was doing like 20-30 miles a week, like running like that. But things are starting to get really good now. Building up my mileage, getting up to like 40-50 miles a week. And planning a bit of a test this weekend with like an 8-hour race. So yeah, man, things are finally turning a corner.
You doing the
Nice one.
Hateful Eight?
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, really looking forward to that. So
That's
that's
cool.
that's like like in my head, that's my first test before Epona, just to sort of see where I'm at, what I need to work on, and yeah, how those 100 miles are going to feel.
What sort of
Yeah.
mileage you got in mind?
I was thinking that I would do at least 4 laps, maybe 5. So what's that? 30,
40 miles.
30, 40 miles, maybe. Yeah, that'd be good.
Nice, man. I'm
But we'll
gutted
see.
that
I
I'm not
haven't.
doing it. I wanted to do it. Obviously, we put the competition out there and stuff, and they were really good to us and offers us positions and stuff. But I'm away for a stag doing Exeter, and unfortunately, and yeah, it would be. I've not done like, because I know it's like that backyard ultra style race, and I really like watching them. They look absolutely brutal. So
Yeah.
I'm aiming to do one at some point in the near future. Maybe not before the Epona, because I can guarantee I'll end up hurting myself or something stupid. So, but yeah, that's class, man. Good luck with that, and make sure
Oh,
you keep us
thanks.
up to date with that afterwards.
Yeah, we'll do.
That's really cool. Jenks, what about you, mate? What are you? What has your week been, bud?
Yeah, so again, thanks for having me on. My week's been good. I'm just trying to have as much fun as possible in training at the moment. Trying to not take it too serious because I know, in 3.5 weeks, going to be starting the Pegasus Grand Slam with obviously the Epona, which jam-packed into the middle of that challenge this year. So I'm trying to like make things as light-hearted as possible while building the mileage and trying to limit sort of injury. So a lot of slow running, but that seems to be the secret to kind of my success over the last kind of couple of years is kind of adopting this zone 2 approach, which I kind of live and breathe by now. Touch wood, I haven't been injured in about 15 months, so I'm feeling in a really good place. And just mentally, just looking forward to it. I'm just trying to tell myself they're gonna be some fun days out. And since I've been doing all these recce's, etc., in the mountains, that's exactly what they've been. They've just been good days out with friends. Like, you've been on a couple, haven't you, Reese? I don't know, I joined you two on a run in the Garth as well recently. So I just see them as nice days out. I don't see them generally as a challenge. I just think they're great days out on the feet. You do walk a lot of hills, don't we? So you kind of mix up your running a lot, and that's what I kind of enjoy around the endurance stuff in the mountains. It is that mix between running and kind of power hiking, which I think makes it a little bit easier, if I'm honest. I know Nathan would agree with me on this. When you do like coastal ultras, they're just so tough because you're just invited to run at every opportunity and you're just constantly running, where when you are in the mountains, I do like kind of that break of having a walk and a stop and admire the views and the kind of the joy side of things with running is what I like, and the more fun side of things. So yeah, I'm in a good place, really positive at the moment. But like listening to you two now, this is what I love about running. Everyone's journey is so unique, and we're all going to that kind of same destination, and we're all training for Epona or the Coastal Path Challenge, and our journeys are so unique. And I think that's the beautiful thing about running is everyone's training is so different. And I think training doesn't get talked about enough. I know we talk about the actual events and stuff, but most of the things that happen are in training. And I think that's the beautiful thing about running is that uniqueness and actually all the good stuff that happens in training.
Yeah, man. But mate, your attitude on running is one that, well, it's just addictive, mate. It's contagious, I should say, because I mean, isn't it funny that all of us are doing 100-mile run? Well, 3 of us are in June, and then you got Nathan taking on 870 miles of coastal path, and we're talking about how it's a fun day out. But there's other people who would laugh in our faces and say, absolutely could not think of anything less fun than doing that. But then you can't go into these races and these runs thinking about all those miles ahead of you and what could go wrong and going with a negative mindset, because I'm a massive believer in mind over matter, and I know that our bodies will get us so far and they'll get us over the finish line, but if our head goes, that's it, game over. The minute they start negative thoughts start dripping in. So to come on and say, I'm just having fun with it, man. Like and that is the way to do it. And you've inspired me a little bit there, mate, because I have had, as you heard at the beginning with Nathan, a few days where I've been quite negative to myself. And like I said, to a point where I've even come off Strava, an app which, regardless of what some people say about it, I really like, because I use it as kind of like a personal running diary to track my miles. But I got pissed off lately because I've started comparing myself. And as they say, comparison is a thief of joy. So I should kick my own ass really for doing that. And you've kind of said exactly what I've been trying to portray in words, and I haven't been able to. That's a wicked attitude, mate. I love it.
Yeah, and I think when you come to your, when you do conquer this 100-miler, because you will do it, because I know you're going to be stubborn as shit like the rest of us, and we'll get through it together. You'll look back at this period of that time you took off Strava, and that'll just be a part of your story, and it'll be unique to you. And I think that is really important. And so you just got to do what's right for you, and all the positive stuff is ahead of you anyway, because we're about to go into that kind of time where we're getting relatively close to the race. Like, how many weeks is it, guys? Like, how many weeks is it? Someone
It's
know?
3 months. It's 3 months. It is. So
Yeah,
the weeks.
16, is it? 16,
Yeah.
15?
15,
Yeah.
15.
15. That just seems to. It seems to. It feels like I booked it a long time ago, but it seems like time has passed very, very quickly. And in my head, I was like, when I booked it, that's fine. I got loads of time. And then here we are, 3 months later, and I'm like, shit, have I done enough?
Yeah, but we did the first recce in, what was it? September, Reese?
Uh, yes, I think it was. That was the one up over Langinida, wasn't it? Was it that one?
Yeah, it was that one. So we did that first recce, and we were saying on that day, me, you, and Luke, how far away the race was. But God, the time flies by, and it feels like time's running out for that. So that's why these recce's have been really good. I'm glad I've done them. Although, ironically, I've forgot all of the recce's. I forgot the route already because they were so long ago. But it's been a good excuse just to get out and get the miles in that terrain, hasn't it? So,
Exactly.
yeah, it's just time has flown, and I can't believe how close the race is now. And yeah, it'll be here before we know it.
Yeah, man.
Can one of you explain what is the Epona and who does it, where it is, and everything, just for the listeners?
Yeah, man. So Epona is a 100-mile race. They're doing the first one this year in June. And it's run by the guys behind Pegasus Ultra Running. Who, yeah, Reese is sporting their top. For anyone that doesn't know, they're probably one of the most accessible running companies out there. They don't do cut-offs. It's the most like family and encouraging atmosphere. And it's actually what got me into running, really. What got me into ultra running, doing Rhythm 2 years ago, I think it was, or a year and a half. So yeah, it's a 100-mile race over the Black Mountains and into the Brecon Beacons, over what, 2 days? Is it 50-hour cutoff?
Yeah.
50
Yeah, and
hours.
it's just
50
yeah,
hours.
it's gonna be
You did the 50 last
absolute
year, didn't
party.
you, Paul?
Yeah, I did Edam last year. Yeah.
Oh, don't bring
Yeah.
that up. Come on, man. Don't. Why are you bringing that up for?
PTSD for Reese, that is, isn't it?
Oh, you bastard! I remember seeing all the pictures of the people who crossed the line at the end, and yours as well, mate. Because you got lost, didn't you, badly, Paul?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was like, I was doing, yeah, second checkpoint. I was really like pleased. I was like in sixth position or something, really like pinching myself. And then by the time I got to the third checkpoint, I was down in like 30 because I'd just gotten so lost over like the open country. I'd I'd never like used a watch before to run, so I was just using my phone. That died, so I was just wandering around, like running in all different directions, trying to look for somebody wearing lycra in the distance. And like, luckily, I just saw some guys like heading over a ridge, so I just like went pelting it like in their direction, just like over rivers and stuff, just trying to get to them before I lost them. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Did,
followed those
did you
guys
know
through.
Reese that time, Paul?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you what? Sorry.
Because did he
As
know
in,
you then?
Yeah, so
Because
I was going to make a point of that at the start there because I know I've run with Jenks, obviously, and at some point, I know Paul through the running punks and stuff like
yeah.
that. So at some point, I've definitely run with you at one of the meetups at some point.
Yeah, I
But
think we did one of the all-you-can-eat buffets.
that's it. Yeah, yeah. And I remember, I'm sure I remember seeing you there. And like I
Yeah,
said, I got to checkpoint 2 or
2.
whatever it was, and my chest had just given in. I'd had a right tipful. I'd fallen down the mountain twice, and then a couple of roly polies, and it was ridiculous. But yeah, that was a brutal race. But yeah, I remember you crossing, and obviously Nath came through the checkpoint and stuff, and ate back into the rain. But that was a hell of a run. But legit question, you know, when you got, do you know you got lost? It's actually a bit of a weird, not a weird fear, I suppose, a bit of a fear of mine because I'm still new to all of this, and even though I'd have a watch for a while, I'd done a couple of ultras before, but not like up in the middle of bloody nowhere in fog and mist and what have you on the side of a mountain. with a weather warning. And I was sticking to the heel of two guys that I was running with from the start. Shout out to Eddie and Sean. And they came in joint 7th position. So if I'd hung around with them, it would have been a really good finish. But I was constantly getting lost. And if I hadn't been stuck to their heels, I'd probably still be up there now, mate. It's a genuine. Do you get, like, when you go into these big ultras and the weather turns bad, do you have a genuine fear that you might get lost? Is that like a thing?
I think I felt like I knew my way back. So I would be able to find my way back. So I wasn't really afraid that I would get lost. I think there's been last Christmas I did the one of the run walk crawl events with the Celtic Ultra. So it was in December, and it was when we had really, really heavy snow. So we're running through like the Dare Valley, and it was all of the forest tracks were just like sheet ice. People were falling all over the place. Up in the mountains, it was snowing, and like the snow was really thick. I mean, relatively, for Wales, it was really thick. I mean, we're not talking like Canada or anything. But about 20 miles into that, I was on my own. Like, I thought I was in the right place. I wasn't going to get lost. But I was on my own, freezing, falling over everywhere. And yeah, about 20 miles in, I just had like I just lost, I lost my mind and just got really dramatic and was like, right, well, I just have to survive now, as if I was just going to die up there.
Well, I don't think you would have got lost up there with a rescue, because when you
No,
in bright yellow and what's those leggings?
Oh yeah. So yeah, I like to wear. So I love dopamine dressing. So when I run, I'm always wearing really bright colors. So yeah, for that race, I was wearing like a luminous green long sleeve top and kind of like purple leopard print leggings.
That would have been class. If Mountain Rescue had been called out to pick you up, can you imagine that? They're absolutely awesome.
Yeah. There's been a few times where I've been dressed like that, sort of like up in a van when there's been weather warnings and things, and people have like asked for like, how'd you get down? Things like that. And I've just been like, oh well, I'm heading down. Follow me. You'll see me. Like, you can't lose me.
No, you're like the beacon. Everyone follows you.
Absolutely.
Just want to take it back a little bit, actually, because I feel like we jumped around a little bit, which is fine. But I just wanted to go back and ask both of you, really, because obviously I know Jenks, and I've met you a few times, Paul, and everything. But Jenks, I'll start with Jenks and I'll come to you, Paul, as well. But Jenks, how did you actually get into running? Because I know that running ultras, I should say, because I know that you used to do half marathon and marathon running, and you were pretty damn good at it as well. So at what point, what stage made you kind of like switch and get into ultra running, mate?
So I started running in 2016, casually, and then 2017 it kind of took off. I became the classic road runner. I was a run leader, did my coaching qualifications, and I just really liked getting people out and helping. To be honest, it wasn't the love of trails that got me into ultra running. I fell out of love with road running and my old run club because of politics and stuff like that. So I actually I drove myself out of road running and then jumped on the trails because I kind of wanted to avoid road running, if I'm honest. And then started listening to David Goggins back in the beginning of 2019 on Audible. Now, bearing in mind, I know Goggins gets a lot of stick, but I would call myself a day one's Goggins person before anyone kind of knew him. And while I was listening to his story, I felt so shit about myself because what he was doing, I booked my first ultra for like 9 weeks away and just turned up and didn't train for my first ultra, which was the Vale Ultra through Run Walk Crawl. Yeah. So 2019 was my first ultra with no training. I just rocked up. I'd never wore a bag before. So on the morning of the race, I was like, oh, obviously I need to get all my sit together and I had a cycling bag, which ironic because I don't cycle either. Turned up to the pier down Penarth, thought probably a little bit arrogant and was like, put 9-minute miles today, that'll be all right. Anyway, started running with this bag on, looked down on my watch and I'm like, 12-minute miles. I'm like, oh shit, this is going to be a long day on my feet. Caught on to some friends that I knew and just had a really long, slow day. You probably know Georgie Lloyd anyway, because I think she goes to Punks, doesn't she? So
Oh yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
me and Georgie I did my first ultra with Georgie because we were good friends. She's still a good friend now, so shout out to Georgie. And I just spent the whole day with her really, just going through a lot of pain because it it is that weird thing. You know, you obviously do run a lot slower when you're doing an ultra, and yeah, the longer you're out on your feet, then ironically, the more it hurts towards the back end of it. So that can't remember the last 10 miles was just brutal, to be honest. But yeah, I got into it through my distaste of road running, if I'm really brutally honest. And then it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me because then I found this love of coastal trail running at the time, and I kind of now it's moved to more mountains. But yeah, that's kind of where I came from.
Nice, man. Well, what about yourself, mate?
Oh well, kind of different, I guess. I'm not a natural runner at all. Like I'm just not. I'm just not like built to be fast. I was my sport all throughout my life was rugby. So I was a prop. That's what. So yeah, beefy boy. Um, but yeah, I guess a few years ago, I just wanted to run a 5K. Like that's all I wanted. I was like, I thought I was going to be happy with that. Um, and just sort of getting getting a little bit longer and longer. And I really fell in love with running when I started linking up with the guys from Running Punks. I think it's just the idea that I'd never considered that you wouldn't just run as fast as you can to the point where it was uncomfortable, like that you would just have fun and socialize and that could be what you do when you run. So like I guess like so that was sort of like a gateway into running longer and longer just because you're having so much fun. Um and yeah, signed up for my first marathon, absolutely hated it, really hated it. Um but then within a couple of what I loved was like after the marathon because I realized I could just like run wherever I wanted. So I knew I could just you'd have the fitness to just turn up in the beacons and run 10 miles down the Taff Trail and get back and that you'd just be fine. And then it was from that and like exploring and pushing to go a little bit further or like be a bit more adventurous and the freedom that that brings, I think that really like made me fall in love with it. So yeah, within like a few months of my first marathon, I signed up for the ultra. Was the say the Pegasus is Rhythm Ultra. Um, and yeah, it just really escalated from there. Sort of within a year of my first marathon, I'd done my first 50 miler, and yeah, by the time
I
we
got
do
to jump in
Epona,
there, mate. Actually, I got to jump in there, Paul, because
yeah,
there's something I need to mention here. So some people like a glass of wine and a takeaway on their birthday. Do you want to tell
yeah,
people what you did on your birthday?
yeah. So yeah, so for my birthday last year, I wanted to run from Brecon to Cardiff. So yeah, I got my sister and her boyfriend to crew for me. Um, because well, my wife, I was sort of fine. I felt like I was fine to go. My wife wanted somebody to be like there just in case. So that was their birthday present to me, is that they would crew me. So yeah, 32 years old, and yeah, ran was it 55 miles from Brecon to Cardiff. So yeah, that's how I spent my day. And honestly,
Awesome.
probably one of the best birthdays ever. I loved it.
Wicked. Do you have birthday cake at the checkpoint?
Do you know what? I didn't? I had what I have crisps, classic crisps, sweets, and sausage rolls, and then finished in Cardiff Bay and went for a bag of chips.
Paul, does
Yeah.
that mean you go into the Hall of Fame? Do Pegasus do a Hall of Fame birthday ultra thing, guys? I think I've heard of something like that.
You
Yeah,
do.
I think they do, but they said that you have to like you have to tell them ahead of time, and I
Oh,
didn't, so I haven't
They
asked.
ask on the
Smart.
start line anyway.
Yeah, you could have just
Yeah,
lied and said you did it like on a different day.
I could have. I could
Can we
have.
start? Can we
Although I have
start
an
a
excuse to
petition?
do it again now. So,
Yeah,
you know.
Let's start a petition on the podcast. If Reece Jenkins is listening, let's get Paul into that Hall of Fame because that deserves something. Come on, 55 miles on your birthday. It's not like you did 32 miles to match. You went, wait, you had birthday miles plus VAT as well, didn't you? To be fair.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
fair play, man. It is fair play, and hell of a distance, and just to do it off your own back, like as opposed to being part of an event and everything, and just to motivating yourself. That shows how mentally tough you are as well, mate. Because it was all the Taff Trail, wasn't it? Is it the
Yeah, completing the Taff Trail. Yeah. I think
amazing?
I think I think I love I do really enjoy the events, like some of the events. I've done some bigger ones recently and I found them really stressful and just not so fun. But I think it's the purity of just wanting to get from one point to the other. That's what it's all about. And I think like for the thing that really attracted me to Epona was that I, you can't do that safely on your own, not really. Um, so yeah, that's why sort of I think that's the purpose that events serve,
Mm.
really, isn't it? Just a bit of
I
safety,
was
a bit
going
of
to ask
security.
you all about that. Like, are you all planning on like pairing up with someone just for the night sections?
You stole my question. I was going to ask that as well. Like, because we're allowed a pacer, aren't we? Are you guys like who is planning on doing that? Yeah, because I'll be honest, I think I will, just because I've got a friend who Jenks has met once actually when we did that run. Gareth was an absolute
Oh,
animal.
Gareth Gray. Gareth
Oh,
Gray?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
him. He's an animal. We're going to get him on the show at some point. He's in training for the Cape Wrath Ultra at the moment in Scotland, which is an
Wow.
8-day run, and he's done Dragon's Back, and he's just a beast. And he very kindly said, like he'd be willing to pace me if he's allowed to. So I think I'm going to do
Mhm.
half of it, at least half of it, if not more, by myself, and then I'll get him to wait at one of the checkpoints for me because a I'd like to run with him because he's just a nice
Mhm.
guy and he's very kindly offered to, and it's good to have the company. And B, I think the latter part of the race is where obviously your head starts to go, and it's just good to have that little bit of a push. I think a bit of moral support because, like you said, keep it fun. Me and him always laugh and we're running and stuff like that and talking and what have you. So, yeah, I'm going to do it. But what's your thoughts on it, guys?
I did a night recce in the Black Mountains. I I kind of worked out where I may be during those hours. Bearing in mind it's June the 22nd, which is the night after summer solstice. So it's the second shortest night of the year. So hopefully with a nice clear night, it actually won't be that bad at that time of year. But yeah, so I've done a recce in the night, and I kind of, for me, I probably may have a pacer towards the end of the race. My friend Harriet, who was going to join us tonight, but I think she was in work. She's training for her first ultra. So shout out to Harriet. She said she'll join me for, a 10-mile slot somewhere. So that'll be great. But for me, I'm going to let the race dictate who I meet on the day. That's what I've always done in my races. You kind of meet these people and they become part of your journey. So I'm not going to pre-plan that, I don't think. I did the Dragon 50 last year, and that went really well. And I latched on to this lady called Rhiannydd. And you know what it's like, boys. You meet these random strangers, and you spend a few hours during a race running with them. I knew her life story, and she knew
Yeah.
mine by the end. So I think Epona for me, I'm going to let Epona dictate my journey on the day. I'm trying not to think too much about it. But yeah, going back to your question, I think I might have a couple of slots. A couple of people said they're willing to kind of come in and help, which is great. It's lovely when you have that support from people around you. And these people who have offered support are people from the community I've met through running. And I think that's the great thing about this community. Everyone is just so lovely and supportive. And that's why trail running is my favorite, because, none of us knew each other a year ago, I'm guessing, or maybe a little bit longer than that. And, we're all here now having a chat. And I think the community is great for that. So, yeah, people are willing to help, which is great. And I think the Epona for me is maybe finding some more new friends again.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
What about
Oh,
you,
guys,
Paul?
I haven't even thought about that. Like, it sounds like a great idea. It really does. I mean, like what Jenks is saying though, like the organic like nature of ultras when you just like link up with people maybe for like a few miles and then sort of they'll drop you or you'll drop them and you'll link up with someone else. It's part of like what makes it so great. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like a really good idea. Probably won't do it though.
And
I don't plan like my running at all. So like I don't think it
Mhm.
would really I don't think it would really work for me. I think more more reactive in the race, I think would be my speed.
that's fair enough. Another thing actually, which big talking point actually, because it's something again I've never had to even consider, is checkpoint 5, a sleep station, 56 miles in Crickhowell. What are people considering? Because I know you've obviously got to give a sleeping bag at the drop bag if you want it. Um, my thought, I'd never run this far, obviously, for a start. So I think it's very much a case of the unknown.
Mm.
And this one, I think, kind of like you said, Jenks, I'm gonna let the race dictate it for me. It's 56 miles in. I'm hoping at that point my head's still gonna be screwed on. And I'm not starting to get angry and lose myself out there. Um, Technically, it's obviously just over halfway, so it's a nice little place for it to stop. Um, but I haven't decided or not, but I know it's a big talking point for a lot of these big races. I know some people just have a minute here and a minute there, and I'm not sure. I've never really run through the night. Well, no, I have never run through the night. And we're going to be on our feet for, obviously 20 plus hours. So it's something I've definitely thought about, but equally, I'm not sure if, again, it depends how I feel. If I do sleep, I'm afraid that I'll just not want to get back up. I'll just be
Yeah.
like, nah, fuck this, I'm done. I want to leave
Yeah.
me here.
I'm planning on not using the sleep station for that purpose because I don't know what you guys are like, but if I stop for 10 minutes, my body's like, you're fucking done, mate. You are done.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid I'll just seize up. And so, I've done the recce from the sleep station. I know what's coming straight after that sleep station. And there's no way I'm waking up feeling like I've got a hangover climbing up Table Mountain, if I'm honest. So, I did see something last year on a Instagram reel. I can't remember the ultra runner, but he does these things called napp-u-ccinos, right? Now, hear me
Oh, I've
out.
seen this.
I do
Yeah.
may have seen this. So this
Yeah.
guy, he has like a 10-minute nap on the side of a mountain, wakes up and he has like a shot of espresso, cold espresso, whatever. And he reckons that resets him and he called it a napp-u-ccino. So
Wow.
I'm planning on maybe trying this napp-u-ccino trick. Might have to do it on Barry Island one night, maybe. But I'm definitely gonna have a go with that. I did test a bit of a nap. So I did my own ultra last month. I call it the overnight ultra. It's a bit like overnight oats, but with running. So I do 11-mile loop, come back home, have some food, rest, and then I use my house as an aid station, and then go again and do a couple more loops through the night. It's a great way of knocking that distance off within 12 hours and actually just seeing how your body reacts to a bit of rest in between. Well, after the first loop, I had a nap. And to be honest, I felt like absolute death on loop number 2. So I already know I don't enjoy running after sleeping. So probably going back to my earlier point, I'm probably just going to let the race dictate it for me, Reese. And if I am going to nap, I'll probably want to do it in the mountains because I just think that'll be more, just a cooler story to tell. Yeah, I had to sleep on top of Lord Hereford's Knob. So so yeah, and if no one knows what I'm on about it's the name of one of the summits. At mile, I think it's about mile 75 to 80, somewhere along those lines anyway. But yeah, that's my sleep plan, if you want to call it a sleep plan, a napp-u-ccino.
There's that really important context there. It's a shame that Lord Hereford's Knob isn't on like mile 69, isn't it? Really?
Are you?
I'm not planning on sleeping, to be honest.
No.
I've got a newborn, so I reckon that's like the best training for that. To be honest, also like 56 miles feels like I. It's still gonna be light, isn't it? Like I know not obviously everyone's doing their own pace, but
I think
like
it's probably still going to be because it kicks
Yeah.
off at 6 a.m.
It gets dark at 9:30 that time of year, about
Yeah.
9:30. So
I'd be looking to get. Oh well, I mean, obviously, plans now are great, but I would think that I'd be getting there hopefully around 6 p.m. I wouldn't want to sleep the last bit of daylight.
No, you're right actually. And also going back to the napp-u-ccino, I'm not going to be. I'm going to be honest with you. I love a coffee, but I feel like I'd shit myself if I had a cappuccino. That late into a race, I'd be diving into a bush, mate, and using some leaves for if you know exactly what I mean, digging a hole. But Nate, what I know you're not doing the Epona, but what's your thought on that? Have you ever had to have a nap?
No, never. I know in October when I did the 5 days that very soon after you finish, you're in agony. And then when you wake up, you're in agony. So you just try and get some sleep straight away. But within 10, 15 minutes of starting to move in, you're back to normal. You're fine again.
Yeah,
Everything loosens up and you're good to go again.
I'm not sure. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna play it by ear. Like I said, if it's good, the options there. But like you said, though, Jenks, I mean, if I can hold on and power through another 20 odd miles, then I'll maybe do it then, or just even if it's just sitting down and having and chill for a bit. But yeah, it's a bit of it's one of those ones, isn't it, that I'm not sure. But I mean,
eating is going to be vital for you all. Again, we've replacing all your glycogen stores. So just eat as much crap as possible.
Yeah.
Try and get some
checkpoints,
pasta
isn't
down
there,
you
en
some
route?
point. A soup maybe at an aid station. Yeah,
Mm.
eating is your goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think looking at
Well-
all the running documentaries I've watched, apparently pot noodles are the goal as well. So
Oh yeah.
Which
they're
flavour though,
always
Paul?
active.
Which flavour? This is a good topic.
Controversial.
Curry, I guess.
Yeah,
That's the
same.
yellow one, isn't
Curry.
it?
Curry
Yeah.
is my go-to one.
Chicken and mushroom, or whatever it is, a standard old school classic pot noodle.
The green one, is it?
Yeah, man, the old school one. That was when back in the days when cheese and onion crisp packets were blue. They didn't get confusing. No, green. They were green. Sorry.
They were green.
And then they changed to blue and confused the shit out of everyone. But I don't know why he brought that up. But there we go. But yeah, I've never thought of that pot noodle, man. But that was actually a point I've got down here is to talk about actually because obviously 100 miles is just it's kind of that golden mileage for an ultra runner to hit, isn't it? And hydration and fueling is a massive topic. I've run 50 miles, or 53 is the most I've run. I've never gone further than that. So I think, speaking for all of you, except for, I know obviously Nathan's done a multi-day event, but I've never run past that. So I think it's going to be a huge test on our body because, I mean, I struggle with running and eating anyway. I'm just still not 100% at it. I obviously take in what I can on the hills while I'm walking. But it's making sure you don't eat the wrong things and the right things, but then you don't know what you're going to feel like on the day and how your gastro is going to kind of react. But have you got any go-tos?
I've just looked up calories in pot noodle, 148. Only 58 carbs though, so you're going to need twice as many. Well, 2 pot noodles to help replace your glycogen stores.
That's all right. One's never enough anyway for me.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
So that's fine by me.
Pot noodle and maybe a protein pancake as you go out or something.
Do you remember?
I think like with what we're all about to embark on, it's a bit like that saying in boxing, everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face. And I think that's quite apt for this race because the reality is we can plan as much as we want. We're not going to know until we go through it. And I think that's also the beauty of this event. And I'm really looking forward to the complete shit show that it's going to be in terms of how I feel. Because let's be honest, no one, it's not going to be the most enjoyable experience on your body, but that's what we've paid for. We've paid to go through complete and utter suffering. Look, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of joy in trail running, and I'm very good at finding the bits of joy, but also I'm equally looking forward to kind of finding out what I can do and how I'm going to react, because I had this, mental thing around my 50 miler. And then at the end of my 50 miler, I had loads in the tank, and I was like, oh my God, maybe I'm destined to do more. And that's why I'm looking forward to this more than anything, is to actually see if I could do it. Because when I did my first marathon in 2017, the first thought I had afterwards, oh, could I do that 4 times in a row? And I said to myself, there's no fucking way I could do that 4 times in a row. And now I'm about to do it, attempt to do it. And I think we should actually quite look forward to the unknown as well. I know there's only so much you can plan. Again, so yeah, going back to that boxing quote, isn't it? You know, everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face. So yeah.
Or until you fall over and break your ribs.
Yeah. Well, I still feel really sorry for you, Nate, because it was quite funny when it happens. When someone stacks it, obviously it's quite a funny thing, but not when someone breaks their rib. So I felt bad for laughing afterwards when you told me, Nate.
But it was it was the amount of times it happened, though, wasn't it?
I mean, I feel bad that nobody filmed it, for fuck's sake. Seriously, man, boys, you got a duty to film people falling over. You know that. When I stacked it on the end of them twice and did a roly-poly down the hill, and would have kept going had there not been a rock to stop me, which was adding to the fun. I was just gutted that Ed, the guy running with, didn't have a camera or GoPro. First thing I said when I stood up was, please tell me you had your phone out. And he was like, no, I didn't. It's like, fuck me, man, come on. I need to bring up something as well. We talked about hydration and fueling. Was anybody there at checkpoint 2 with me when a guy rocked up? I don't think you were. None of you were, actually.
No, you were ahead of us, weren't you?
Well, he took his bag off, this guy, because I'd been there probably 15, 20 minutes. He took his bag off. He bought a can of Guinness and necked a can of Guinness at the checkpoint. And I shit you not. And I was like, that's actually all the iron and stuff like that. It wasn't a 0% read. It was a proper can. And I said, that's risky. He was like, well, I tried it with cider before. Trust me, that was more risky. So, I mean, talking about hydration, I've seen some people pull some funny things out the bag, but that was, I'm not sure I'd want to run the remainder of a 50-mile race with a with a tin in my system. Like, that's
quite iconic, that, isn't it? A can of Guinness. My last race, I just survived on crisps and cans of Coke. I got through the race all right. But I had my tailwind as well. Shout out to Tailwind and Colorado Cola. Have you ever tried Colorado Cola? That is the greatest flavor. But yeah, I think just Nathan said earlier, just calories. You just got to get it in you, haven't you? And that's yeah.
I agree. Mate, I shout out to Tailwind, Courtney the watermelon. You gave me that. I desperately wanted it and couldn't find it anywhere, and you gave me one of them. Nicest one I've had so far. Like, easily. I've tried all of them now, I think. And Colorado Cola is a very close second position, but the Courtney the watermelon one, her signature one, banging.
This is water, guys.
This is turning into the flavor episode. What are our favorite flavors on things, isn't it?
Hi guys, with your water, how often do you make a point of emptying those bottles? Because if it's not like every hour or so, then that tailwind is not going to do this job as meant to.
No, I tried to, in one of the races, I tried to set like a timer on my Garmin, and then like every half an hour or ever so that I'm having a sip or wherever. So I'm not sure how long, I couldn't tell you how long they last me, but I usually have, well, in the Pegasus runs, actually you have to have a minimum of like a litre of water in there or something. So I have the 2 soft flasks, and one always has water and one always has the tailwind in the other one. So I kind of mix it up a little bit. By the end of the race, it doesn't matter what's in those bottles. I'm usually fed up with it, which is why the flat Coke at the checkpoints is banging. But that's a good point, though. Do you guys do you monitor it quite strictly?
I am in my 50. I took on around 10 litres in the race in total, and then Garmin's got this little stat in one of after the race, and I lost 9.5 liters during the race, and I felt great all day. So I'm convinced that this liter an hour trick that Nathan refers to, like 2 shot flasks in an hour, it works really well. So I like you, Reese, I had one with a full sachet of Tailwind and one just water, and I'd make sure I'd had that before every checkpoint, and then when I got to the checkpoint, I'd neck a can of full fat Coke just for that moment of joy, because I think just having, like, I don't know anyone's like that, but when you first open a can of Coke when you're hot and you have that first sip, and it's it's like the first hit of heroin that the junkies ever had. It's like the best thing in the world. So I think it's important to, I think 2 soft flasks an hour works for me. But also, after we did our recce Reese in September, I went and purchased one of those salmon filters for the bottle.
Did you?
Yeah, which is a funny story, wasn't it? Because we got a shout out to Luke, who comes on the recce.
Luke's awesome.
Luke's brilliant. He's one of the running punks, and he's come to a lot of the recce's that we've done for Epona. He brought a salmon filter bottle, and he was like, "Do you want to try it?" So me and Reese like, "Fuck yeah, go on!" So he put it in the stream. Lovely. We all tasted it. Really nice fresh water. We must have walked 20 meters up the stream, and there was a sheep's corpse in the stream on it, Reese. So that was interesting. But luckily, none of us died. So
and when I read into it afterwards, and I've been looking for filter bottles ever since, it was like, always make sure the stream's clear up front before you drink the water. And I was like, yeah, we dropped the bottle there, but none of us had anything. So
we had Welsh lamb flavour Brecon carrot.
Bit of extra protein.
Yeah,
man. Actually, changing up from Epona just for a little bit, Paul. Just one thing I want to say. Obviously, you mentioned you got a newborn. Congrats, mate. I know you got Mably. Is that the name?
Yeah, Mably. Yeah,
Mably. Congrats, dude.
Lovely Welsh name.
Thanks,
man. One thing we've spoken about, obviously, on socials before this, that I absolutely love about you and what you do is that you still take Mably. I remember seeing one of your first pictures, and she tiny, and you're literally up a mountain in the worst weather with like a protection on the pram, running with the pram, like you're still going.
Yeah. So
is that a poker pram?
Poker pram.
I do all my training with her at the moment.
Amazing.
So every mile almost, apart from like a sort of a Wednesday night with the other running punks on the trails, she's with me. So all my recceing that I've done so far, she's either been in the buggy or like strapped to my chest. I took her up her first mountain. I took her up Sugarloaf when she was 1 month old. So that was how we celebrated that. And it's just gone from there. Like, she loves being out. We do. She gets a bit like angsty after like 16 miles. That's when she sort of had enough.
Don't we all, Paul? Don't we all?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't we all, mate? At least we have a choice, you cruel bastards.
But yeah, otherwise, she loves it, and it's been really, really nice because I haven't recce'd a lot of the route because it's just not really. Shockingly, it's not buggy accessible. But yeah, we've been doing. It's been a real joy having to go out of my way to find like hills and challenging routes and stuff that I can take her with me. So yeah, it's really fun, and hopefully it's like adding like resistance training. I hope so, because like hills pushing the buggy is so hard. Like there's doing 1,000 feet climb, and then there's pushing a buggy up 1,000 feet.
And she's just going to get heavier now as she gets older as well, so it's just going to get harder.
Yeah. Hopefully I get stronger. Otherwise, I'm
if
in
you got
trouble.
her on a vest, it'd be like a weighted vest workout, really. If you got her in one of those vests, but do you know? You said about pushing the pram and stuff. Do you know this? Just curious, because just popped into my head. I've considered buying a pram. My boy's 2 now, but just to try it. Do you find that it alters your running, like what's the word, form, like, or like anything at all when you're holding it?
I don't think so. I mean, you sort of you're very gently holding on to it, I'd say. You sort of got one hand on, the other hand sort of doing, its thing. Yeah, and then that's like when you're going uphill, I think you probably do end up being a little bit more extended than you'd want to be.
Yeah.
But nothing's hurt yet. So
No. And you've done a couple of
no.
5Ks and stuff, haven't you? Like the park runs and stuff with it?
Yeah, I've done some racing, I guess, what you'd consider that to be. We came fourth in our park run this weekend.
Wow.
It was like a off-road one as well, so like you could just see like people's souls leaving their body as I lapped them. But it was, I mean, it wasn't particularly like a fast run, but like it was for the buggy, I guess. But that's nice. But we've done like like 18, quite a few like 18 milers together. We sort of stop halfway. She'll have some milk, I'll have a coffee, break it up that way. You don't want to get those mixed up.
No, don't get that mixed up.
Yeah.
Do you, as a parent, as a relatively new parent like myself, really, do you get any like parent guilt? I know it feels like you might be able to cancel that out naturally because you're taking it with you, which is amazing. And I'm almost kicking myself that I never did that, because the bonding experience as well as that is amazing. But do you get any parent guilt when you go out now without her? Do you feel bad? Or do you get anything where you're like, oh, should I be doing this? Should I be home?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think all parents probably do, don't they? You're always looking at the one thing that you think, okay, I'm doing this well, but why I'm not doing this other thing? Like I worry that I'm not talking to her enough, for example, when we're out on some of these like long runs. But then like I do see like she so obviously loves it as well, being out. Um, she'll be sort of in the buggy, just like gargling away, just like so happy, and then we'll drift off to sleep, and then we'll wake up again and be gargling away, and yeah, it's nice because it allows me to feel like, okay, this isn't just for me.
No.
Even though it totally is, obviously. I mean, obviously it's for me.
You're going to have an incredible bond though, because you've spent so much time in those places with her. I think she should have her own Strava account. She'll be doing so much mileage, wouldn't she?
It's
Yeah, man.
embarrassing because she'd probably be doing more mileage than most runners, mate.
Well, last week she did 40 miles. So
Wow.
And how old is she?
Yeah, 6 months tomorrow, actually.
So she's 6 months and she did a 40-mile week with you in the pram. That's so I'm only saying that my wife just walked in the room, and like I said, we got a 2-year-old, so I'm saying that out loud so she knows the context of this, because I told her last night about you, Paul, because out of curiosity, Nathan and Jenks, mate, obviously you've got kids. I know they're a bit more grown up, but did you do anything like that when they were younger?
Yeah, my Isabella, she's 10 now, but she did the Cardiff Bay 2K with me in 2017. She used to come on, and she was only 3 or 4 at the time, and she loved it. She loved the buzz of getting a little medal at the end. And she's not, she's grown now. She loves dance. She's not really into running. My son, however, loves running. And it's not something I've pushed him into. I think it's quite nice. I think he's been naturally inspired by the stuff I do, and he asks to come out, and he's a great little runner, Luca, to be fair to him. He's naturally gifted, way more naturally gifted than me. And like, he did his first adult park run, God, was it in January, I think? And he was just like overtaking fully grown men, which, and I'm not all about times and pace, but when you see your son overtaking men and he's only 8 and he's only a little duck, like, I was so proud of him, and he was so proud of himself at the end. I think he came in like 29 minutes or something. So, which is like, he pushed me a little bit. My heart rate was dipping into zone 3 and 4 at one point. So yeah, it's wicked to see the kids kind of sort of follow in your footsteps and enjoy what you do. And I'm just really excited for him to grow up and to come out with me on some more trails as his body gets bigger. You know, I don't want to take him out too much now on trails because, you know, I'm doing long runs and I don't particularly want his body to have to go through that. He needs to still build up his body and stuff. But, you know, he loves football, so he plays a lot of that now. So as he gets older, I think he will become a naturally good runner. So we'll see. And I know Nathan, your boy's joining you on your coastal path. Is he doing some miles every day with you, Nate?
He's not running at all. He's doing rugby in school, so he's doing his running in school. In terms of like coming out and running with me at the moment, nothing. He's got the Bigmoose fun run in April where he's doing 10K. And then he's planning to do 10K every day when I do the coast.
That's amazing.
So that'll be broken up
amazing.
through the whole day. So we like do 2 in the morning, 3 lunchtime, and then so like a bit the rest of it later on.
I mean, is there a better pacer, mate? There is no better pacer. That'll be so uplifting, like to have him there with you and stuff like that, and inspiring. I mean, I've not done any running with my boy. Well, I have actually. That's a lie, but it's usually back and forth to land him when I'm trying to get him in a bath. But because he absolutely, but he loves it. He just runs and runs and runs. And when he sees me running, or when I've come back, he goes, "Daddy's been running." So I don't know. I think he can see it, and when he sees other runners, he recognizes it now. But I mean, obviously, what will be. But it's just lush to see. Like I said, you guys now and Paul right now as well. You're making these memories. They're better than any race you'll ever do. Like you're spending that quality time with your family. You're ticking off 2 boxes in here, right? On an amazing trail with, you know, your beautiful little daughter. So yeah, it's a class, mate, and I love it. I see so many people who've had children who they think that's the end of their life. Like they just all their focus. I get all their focus needs to be on their baby. I 100%. So I'm not saying anything controversial there. But also you've still got your own life and your own like kind of priorities. But if you can do it both together, winning.
Yeah, I want my son to sort of like see me suffer, see me working hard, see me sort of like really like in tears, because there will be days where I'm just so exhausted I'll be crying, and then like straight after that see me sort of like carrying on. I want him to see all that.
Yeah, the real raw side of it, because like we've discussed so many times, it's not just a physical sport, it's a very mental sport. Like when you know you've got a day of 50 miles ahead of you and you're doing that every day consistently, like you are going to be, like there's no skirting around it, like, or beating around the bush. Like your son isn't going to see you smiling from ear to ear every day. He's going to see how life is really. It's kind of a life lesson, isn't it? That some days he'll see you and you'll be in great spirits, and other days you'll want to throw yourself off the edge of the cliff because it'll be so hard. And it's good for him to see that and appreciate that actually my dad does hurt. This is what he's doing to himself. And it's kind of a life lesson there somewhere along the line.
I think with him being there as well, he'll help me take that next step forward each day, every minute, every second, because I won't want to let him down as well.
No.
So he's my he's my my energy, I suppose.
He's your Goggins.
Yeah,
your Goggins.
He is your Goggins. Yeah, I knew he was going to get brought up with Jenks on the podcast.
It's a good point, though, isn't it? Because I think it's important to call out this. Like we've had a really light-hearted conversation about running and the you know, the lovely side of it, but let's not beat around the bush. It's fucking hard a lot of the time as well. There's those pretty Instagram pictures and videos that we all post and you know, and all the funny bits that happen, but running ultras is a bloody hard thing to do. It's so, like Paul alluded to, it's really pure, isn't it? It's just you, it's your body getting from point A to point B. And I wish sometimes people would be able to experience it so they can kind of understand. But also, like you said earlier, Reese, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, and I don't think it would be as cool then. So it is important to call out how hard it is actually, because, you know, generally we're talking about all the good side of running and all the joy that it brings. But I just wanted to put that out there, that it does. It is horrible sometimes. And Nathan, you're gonna feel that the most. Your challenge is epic, and you're gonna have days where it's gonna be, like you say, full of tears, and but it'll all be worth it in the end, won't it? It always is. What's the term? Pain is temporary, glory is forever. Yeah,
it's true. It's true, and I think somewhere along the lines, we've all become very comfortable. I think, and I mean, like, just humans in general, like, at the end of the day, it's nice to have those luxuries and stuff. But I think that something you said then is very true, Jenks. Sometimes I want to grab people and say, just fucking sign up to an ultra or a marathon or something. Push yourself and feel how miserable it is to be in so much discomfort, but then so much joy at the same time. Because comfort is amazing. We all love comfort. Who doesn't enjoy sitting on the sofa and watching a film, pigging out on a takeaway? But then equally, that you can get that same joy from running on a trail with some good mates that you've met 12 months ago or less, and you're hearing about their stories and stuff. And for me, like, the latter is far more, it gives me far more. And I heard a quote a long time ago, and I can't remember the exact quote now, so forgive me, but it was something like, how sad is it that some people go through their life not knowing what it feels like to really push yourself? Like, I'm not talking about suffering. People have their own problems. There's mental health and everything, which is a big topic on this. And there's ways around dealing with that. But I'm on about physical suffering, where you felt that we've all felt that your body is going to just collapse on you. Like, when you lay down, you physically cannot stand up unless somebody helps you. And I just think it's quite sad that there's some people on earth that will never feel that, because it's their choice. Fine, whatever. But I think in doing that, it changes you as a person. It really does. Like, the first ultra I did, which was the Howam up in Llanidloes, the Pegasus, changed my life completely. Like, I had done some long distances prior to that by myself, but that run, when I crossed that finish line, my wife was waiting there for me, pregnant. A good friend of mine, my brother-in-law, and his partner, with a bottle of Budweiser for me, and I collapsed. Like, and there was no theatrics behind it. I collapsed. Like, I had nothing in me. And I managed to scrape myself up off the floor and climb into the little river that was behind us on a boiling hot day in my pants, freezing cold, and just led in it, and was just looking up at the sky, thinking about how many times in that race I almost gave up, but how proud that I was that I didn't. And I think everyone needs to feel it. It's such a addictive feeling. But yeah, sorry, I got very philosophical then, but it's just passion.
It is. My friend who I mentioned earlier, Harriet. So she started kind of coming out with us at the beginning of this year, and within a week or so of just coming out with me and some friends, she's booked onto her first ultra now, and I'm just so excited for her. She's doing the Howam in May, because I'm quite jealous that she's about to embark on her first one, because you can't beat that first one, because that first one is the one that really sets the tone, and it's the one that causes this sort of domino effect on you to, like, just keep doing more and more and more. So I'm excited for people when they do sign up to one. That's the hardest thing to do, isn't it? Like Nathan said, just sign up. Just sign up. Yeah. You won't be ready. You'll never be ready for it. Who is ready for an ultra? Like, I've got the Canon now in 3 weeks. I am ready to run 43 miles on concrete. But I'm just going to have to survive, innit? Because I've signed up to it. So so if I could send a message to anyone who hasn't done an ultra that would listen to this, is just sign up to one, because you'll be surprised. You'll get through it. You will get through it, and it will completely change your life for the better. I think you become a better human. I just think you become a better human for it.
Yeah, it's incredible. It really is. Yeah, I have some Epsom salts ready, and a couple of days off work maybe, but yeah.
That's a good point. What are you doing after I've booked a week. I don't really book days off work after all, but I've booked a week off after the Epona, because I'm worried I'm going to be, like, in hospital or something. So I've booked a week off. So what have you guys done?
What are you doing,
I've
Paul?
booked like an Airbnb in Abergavenny. So my wife and baby are going to be there. So
Yes.
yeah,
Nice.
hopefully, I'll, unless things go like properly tits up, I'll get at least one night there.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm running home from Abergavenny. I'm just going to run home. I just figured.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm running there as well. Forgot to mention that.
run
Sorry, my bad. No, I'm just gonna my family are gonna be there. I've booked the next. Is it Saturday or Sunday? Oh my God, Saturday.
We start
Saturday stuff.
we start on a Saturday morning at
But it
6
will
a.m.
finish
and
like
you've
on the
got to,
Sunday.
yeah, well, you've got till Monday morning at 8 a.m. in theory.
Oh, yeah, I'm if I'm not finished by then, I'll be pulling myself out of it. But yeah, I've got the Monday off really. But and then what I'm hoping to do, if we all can do at some point, is go along and give Nathan some support on his old Welsh coastals path run. I'd like to
Yeah.
come out and irritate the shit out of you, mate. Throw things at you and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be
That's
great. I was down in Tenby on the weekend with my friend John. Happy birthday, John, if you listen to this for the weekend.
Big
And
John is.
I know Nathan, like you've been down that way, like Tenby way, and it's going to be part of your route. They're brutal. I swear, I'm going to put out there. I think coastal running is harder than mountain running because it's just so undulate. It's constant up, down,
Yeah.
up, down. There's no rest. We did some beautiful. I think we had 26 climbs on the weekend in a 20-mile run, like 26. He kept looking at his Garmin. He's like, right, 3 out of 26. 4 out of 20. It's like, oh my God. So Nathan's going to be on the biggest roller coaster of his life, I think, in July. So I think he deserves some support from the whole community to get out. And I'm planning to try and get out for a day somewhere where I haven't run before because selfishly I'd like to explore as well. So that'll be good in July, which would be great training for the Edam as well, which is coming up in August. So
I was looking at the elevation for the coastal path. What do you think it is?
Good question. Wait there. So it's 870 miles.
160,000 feet, I'm guessing.
I reckon
It's Everest twice.
Well, Everest
60,000.
Everest is 29,000, isn't it? So
Yeah, it's
No.
actually 64,000 foot.
I
foot,
thought
yeah.
I thought it would have been more than that.
And most of it's in North Wales.
ooh,
Yeah, it's brutal up there. I worked up there in February and I run around Llandudno. Does the coastal path go around Llandudno?
Yeah, that's my
Around the
first
Great
stop.
Orme.
Llandudno.
Oh my God. So it's called the Little Orme and the Great Orme. And there's really angry sheep up there. It's the first time I've ever been chased by a sheep. I don't know if anyone saw the video of the other day. There's an ultra
Aren't they
runner.
goats? Aren't they goats? Not
No,
angry sheep.
there's sheep as well up there.
Oh, right.
And oh my God, this one was proper angry, chased me down. Reese will tell you, I'm shit at going downhill. I'm really bad at descending. But I've worked on it a lot. I've never descended so fast in my life. I almost made a lamb kebab when he was coming at me, right? I went down that mountain quicker than you'd ever imagine. But yeah, Nathan, it's so beautiful up there. Yeah, I'm jealous. I am jealous you're doing it, but I'm also really excited for you because I think it's going to be epic.
Well, why didn't you get a team together and do it next year in the Cannonball?
Oh, here we go. Drop
Is
it
this
in this then.
Selfish plug, yeah.
Selfish plug. Well, I'll have to look into it and stuff like that because it's a great. Obviously, who doesn't want to run around their own country? It's like, yeah,
With a bunch of mates.
Yeah, man, that's class. You got to drop that in there, mate, because that's amazing. So, just mention that quickly, mate. You need to plug it.
So if you don't know, I've launched the Dragon Cannonball 870, which is a 4-man relay around the Welsh coastal path, starting in Chester, ending in Chepstow. So each team will take it. Well, each member of the team will take it in turns to run along the coastal path. It's up to you what you do in terms of mileage, but it's one person has to run. You can sleep it overnight, or you can run through the night, but it's up to you. And bear in mind, obviously, you're going to have other teams around you who might leapfrog you if you're arrested into the night. So each team needs their own van. We're currently sort of like in talks with campsites along the route. So if you do want to stop, there's campsites that have allocated space for you, or so you can just rock up, like book with them, rock up with a discount, but they'll always keep the space there for you. So yeah, it'll be a decent 8-day challenge for you all.
Sounds incredible. Sounds amazing.
Really
I'm not
does,
sure my
man.
marriage would survive me signing up for something like that. So close. Like, I think I need to let like things lie a little bit after Epona.
Yeah, it's killing me. I can't mention what I'm doing next year, but I'm still in agreement with a few people I need to learn. I got a big challenge coming up that I'm trying to sort. A lot of planning, but yeah, I've had to kind of preempt my wife. It's over a year away, but just to be like, telling her
Can't
these things
tease
I'm
us with
doing.
that, Reese.
What's
Can't
that?
It's
tease. You can't
less than a
tease us
year
with that.
now.
No, I can't. I can't. I'm not going to do it just yet, only because I'm afraid that it won't come to fruition. If I start talking about it now, I'll look a right bell end if it doesn't happen. So I'm going to leave it as it is. But I'm going to be posting this thing on Instagram soon because I'm going to be as transparent as possible because that's life. It's expensive, and I need support financially. So I'm looking into corporate sponsorship through a few companies. Got a few successful mates and entrepreneurs who I'm meeting with, and have shown some real good promise. And they actually have, well, they've supported me in previous races as well. So I'm going to get in there with them. And I've reached out to a few brands and stuff where I've had some really promising replies. So I need to basically sort out finances to get me to the start lines.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
once I've done that, then I'm going to start the fundraising then, which is the main part of all this. So I'm going to be raising as much money as I possibly can for a charity very close to my heart. So it's a big deal. It's big for me anyway, and I'll be the first person to have done it. But it's
Wow.
not as like, it's not running every single day like what Nathan is, but it's going to be a lot running in multiple countries. So it'll be good. But yeah, that's a
Nice.
big thing for me. Shout out to Varga, actually. The hats that we all wear, the Varga hats. I
You got
reached
one
out
on now?
to people. Yeah, man. Mate, is that the purple and yeah, that one. That's it. So I reached out to them and said what I was doing, and they sent me free hats in the post supporting me. They sent
Oh,
me they
amazing.
sent me that one you've got on. They sent me a bucket
Yeah.
hat, and they sent me the like pink and yellow one, just like that. Just no questions asked, just supported me. So again, that's why I love this community, because I still need backing for this, but they put their faith in me, and I'm hoping a few other people will, so I can take them on this journey with me. But yeah, more about that in future episodes. One thing just to finish on, because I'm conscious of the time, guys, I do apologize. But Jenks, you got to tell us about this funny little risky trigs thing you're doing. What's going on?
So last year I was driving past a field on the A48. You'll all probably know that on the A48 from Culverhouse Cross up the Tumble towards Cowbridge. And in the field, I saw an old trig point. Now, if people don't know what a trig point is, it's basically those big stone pillars that you generally see on top of mountains. Now, in the 1930s, there was like 6,500 built in the UK, and that's how they built the more accurate map of the UK back in the 30s, is measuring from trig to trig, from pillar to pillar, and that's obviously that's what trigonometry is. So I have had my eye on this trig point. It's in a farmer's field, right? So it's an old trig that's not on a walking path. And I've had my eye on it for ages, and I thought I'm not technically allowed to go in there. So last month I thought, you know what, bugger, I'm just gonna jump over the fence and go and get it, but I'm gonna film it. And then so I've obviously filmed that, got into the field, had a bit of an adrenaline rush. In the end, it was just really easy. There was no one around. I got up to the trig point, got out there, finished my run. And then I started looking around on the Summit Bag app to see if I could see any more bit of inconspicuous summits everywhere. And turns out that there's just loads of old disused trig points are in places where you shouldn't be. So I've just done making my training a bit more fun, if I'm honest. And I've called it Risky Trig because I've sort of branded it. It's just a bit of fun. It doesn't mean a whole lot, but it's just taking my mind off the actual run and just having a bit of a mission while I'm running. So a couple of weeks ago, I got into Aberthorpe Power Station and got one in there, which was quite interesting. That was a proper adrenaline rush because I saw a security van in the distance. So I got to the trig and then run back out. And it's just gone on from there. And I'm just enjoying it now, just trying to find trig points which look like they might be quite difficult to get to, or if they're funny. So there's one in Leckwith called Cock Hill. I was like, I've got to go and get Cock Hill. Ironically, even though that one wasn't risky, it was the hardest one to get because I had to jump over electric fences. But I cut my leg to pieces that one. There was a field which had a sign saying, "Be careful of the bull." And I don't think there was a bull in there, but it was the unknown that made it a bit of a rush trying to get through. So I would put out there, if anyone wants to come and join me on a risky trig mission, come along because it's quite funny. Ultimately, I'm just going for a run. I'm just going for a trail run. I'm just going to these points. But yeah, risky trigs. It's just. I think I've made it my brand now. I think that's my thing. So just got to carry on with it now. Ironically, the closest trig to me is an old trig point. Is on Barry Island. It's just a fucking lane with a lamppost. So every time I go for a run around the island, I make sure I got the lane out to bag the trig. I think I'm on like 106 trigs now, but like 62 unique ones. So obviously I want to start building them up, the unique ones and stuff over time. And I know Nathan messaged me yesterday saying you got a bit of work to do to catch up on Izzy Watts, because obviously Izzy, who we probably all follow on Instagram, she's called Mrs. Triggalot and she just bags trigs galore. I think I'm years behind catching up to that amazing person, but mine is more around the risky ones and the ones that are a bit more what I think might be a bit more difficult to get to. So yeah, sorry, I've just gone off on a tangent there, but yeah, that's risky trigs.
It's funny. I'm just thinking about maybe we should set up a poll of how set up a bit of a debate. How soon do we think it'll be until Jenks gets shot up by a farmer? Or not shot at or attacked by a sheep or a bull or something. Let's put a bit of a bet on. And
well, I'm not a criminal. Can I just put this out? I'm not a criminal. I did get arrested once in the 2010 British Grand Prix. So I'm a massive F1 fan, and I used to travel to watch F1 and stuff. I don't really go to many races anymore. And me and my friend, my best mate Ben, we were hammered, right? We'd been drinking all day. We watched the World Cup final. I remember Spain won the World Cup. On the way back to the campsite, we managed to sneak into a garage in the F1. Don't ask me how. The door was open, but we were technically trespassing. And then security come flying in, and we were chucked in the back of a riot van. And then we were escorted off the track. Anyway, we had our rights read. So I have been caught trespassing before. So I am well aware of the dangers. But I generally think we're okay in the British countryside because you're all right. I've got poles, man. People just think I'm a lost walker, to be fair, if they saw me. And I've always got a story, like I've been taken the wrong way on my watch. So I've got my backup story in case I do get caught. But if I do get shot, I think it'd be my own fault. But I'm just there for the entertainment.
I don't want you to get shot at, just to be specific there. I'm not.
Yeah.
But
just stay away from any military compounds.
Well, me and John did run past a military shooting zone in Tenby the other day, which is in between Tenby and Freshwater East. But we heard some shots, ironically. It's on my risky trig highlight story from the other day when I surprised my friend for his birthday. We went for a run and managed to bag a trig, and we run past a military shooting zone. But I didn't have the bollocks to go in there because that would have been a stupid idea.
Please don't do that. But get ready for for Ed and me and Nathan and also Paul. It's in Sennybridge, which is a live shooting military. So as well as tackling the bad weather, the mountains, the fog, there's also red flags flying, saying live range being shot, and it's just super reassuring, honestly.
Yeah, well, a load of people on the way up were like seeing people like with guns and stuff, weren't they? Because they were doing like some like overnight training operation. I'd gone another way, so missed all of it. But yeah, pretty unsettling.
Yeah, Nate likes to tell that story when we were on the way up there at 4:00 in the morning and got stopped and a big van pulled out and all these people in camo popped up with guns. And I was like, I'm only here to run a race. What's going on? Right then, guys, Nathan, unless there's anything else you'd like to say, that's been a wicked laugh. Needed that, really needed it.
Oh
It's
yeah,
been a tough
thanks
whole
guys.
week and
Really
everything.
fun.
So, yeah, thank you
Yeah,
guys,
thank
and
you.
wicked for coming on. Appreciate it, Jenks and Paul. Really good to get to know your backstories and have a laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, I'm sure we'll get out and do some miles soon on the trails. But other than that, Nathan, unless there's anything else you want to talk about, just want to say thanks for coming on again, guys. If you haven't checked out Will Fraser Coombs' episode from last week, please do. Jenks will vouch for you and for me here, and he's just a remarkable guy with a hell of a story and a bit of a
Yeah.
legend. So, yeah, check it out. But other than that, thanks very much for coming on, guys. And yeah. Rest up and hope you feel better soon, mate.
Yeah, cheers, Reese. Obviously, I'll see you tomorrow at the Bigmoose night.
Yes.
And then next week I will be at Soulmate in Merthyr for the Topu run meet. So we'll get some interviews from both events. I know there's quite a few YouTubers going tomorrow, so hopefully get Flora and Benjamin on.
Yeah.
And a few others, Nick Butter.
Yeah, guys, if Paul and Jenks, if you didn't know, there are still tickets available. There's the Big Moose have got an event on tomorrow with some speakers, and there's a bunch of really cool motivational speakers here. One of them, I've got his book actually, Nick Butter. He ran a marathon in every country in the world, and he's just an absolute beast. Like, and there's just some really great people there telling their stories. So it's pretty cheap. Is it St. David's?
St. Davies Hotel, yeah.
St.
Yeah,
David's
I
Hotel.
got the kids tomorrow night, so I can't make
Fair
it.
enough. Fair enough.
Yeah,
But yeah,
maybe.
but
But
keep an eye on
it
their
looks
Instagram
awesome.
anyway. And they do amazing things, as we all know. But yeah, thanks ever so much, guys, again. And I'll see you tomorrow night.
Yep. Ciao, Reese.
Thank you all.
Have a nice
Thanks,
evening,
folks, for coming
everyone.
on.
Take care,
Cheers,
guys.
guys. Bye now.
Bye.
Cheers, both.
Bye.
Bye.